301,000 miles and this Toyota is still kicking. But there's some serious confusion going on with this thing. Let's find out why. Let's get started. Customer brought this in with a check engine light and they want to know what's going on. They mentioned something about a catalytic converter. They just had it replaced. It can't be that. There's some confusion going on with that. We're going to figure that out and show you what we found. But before we dive in, there's more codes than just the catalytic converter. Just like always, be expected when you bring your car to a shop. There may be more found than what you originally anticipated. Don't get mad at the mechanic. They didn't break it. It just happens that way sometimes. Let's take a look around this thing. 300,000 miles. What does it look like? This is a 2006 Toyota Sequoia with a 4.7 V8, and it has a pearl white, kind of a pearlescent color paint. As we go around, we can see there is water getting into this turn signal assembly here. It still works, but it does have water in it. The paint actually is pretty nice for as many miles that are on it. It does have, looks like a slight lift kit. And on the back, nice paint, iForce V8, four-wheel drive. Just looking at it, you would think it might have 150,000 miles on it, maybe 200, not 301. That is some of the great things about Toyota. They do great on their paint jobs. They do a great job. Let's go ahead and take a look under the hood. And here we go with our 2UZFE. I like to see this sticker. It says just recently, as of last year, it had its timing belt water pump job done. Yes, thank you for doing that. That's very good to keep these things rolling as long as you can. That's what keeps any car with a timing belt on the road without a bunch of trouble, is scheduled maintenance, getting the things done when they're supposed to be done. It's easy to say, well, it's time for this or that maintenance schedule, but my car runs fine. I don't need to do that right now. I really don't have the money. And you keep doing that over time, and 3 and 5 and 10 years go by, all those maintenances got skipped, and now when you finally something breaks, it's a cascade. There's a whole lot wrong because there was so many things skipped on it. So make sure to keep up on the maintenance. Locally, there's a Honda Pilot for sale with around 150,000 miles. It says timing belt's broken. Why didn't they get it done at 100,000 miles? I think 90 or 105 is supposed to have the Honda Pilot timing belts done. They said, I can get that later. It's not a big deal. And it finally broke. Now it's for sale for a quarter of what the vehicle's worth. Is it even worth fixing? I don't know. I'm not even going to go down that road with that vehicle. Make sure to maintain your vehicles. Let's take a look around this. 300,000 miles and the engine looks nice. We even have a Toyota battery in this thing. But as we go around and look at the engine, you would think it has 100, 150,000 miles on it. There's so many cars on the road, especially domestic cars, that have 300,000 or 250. The engine bay is nowhere near this clean. I would say nothing's been modified, everything's original, but I do see something I don't like to see. And it's one of those inline little modules that goes in with your airflow sensor. It kind of tricks the computer for more miles per gallon or 10 more horsepower or something. I've never seen these work, and usually they fail and then start causing check engine lights and causing it to run very poorly. I've never seen anything good come out of those ever. Luckily, that's not the problem. Let's let Mrs. Wizard show you guys around the interior. How has it held up after 300,000 miles? Take it away, Mrs. Wizard.
Okay, ladies and gents, so we're not starting here today. I'm not even in the car. I want to show you something else before we even get in there. This is normally not able to be seen because we're in the driver's seat filming, but here's some of the where we can see from getting in and out of this car 300,000 miles worth of time. Wow. Just a little bit of a rip in there, nothing too bad. There you have it, 301,715 miles. Yikes, that is insane. But the gauge cluster obviously is in good condition. Very common for Toyota products, very simple, easy to read dials. As we move up, you'll see everything is looking good. Got a little sensor up there to check for climate control, but looking nice. Nothing's broken. We come around, we've got some lovely wood accents around that infotainment screen. It does say Kenwood on there, so it looks like that has been added as an aftermarket product, but HVAC controls, easy to use. We've got our range selector for our four-wheel drive. as we move down, we do have a few items to help, with suspension and other controls. So, okay, looking good so far. As we get to our center armrest here, you can see we open this up and wow, the DVD player. Those are going to become so archaic, almost to that era now, but they're going to become quite archaic in the future because who buys DVDs really anymore? Nonetheless, looks good, closes, latches, and the armrest is in good shape. The seat, I'll go ahead and put our armrest up, looking good, no rips or tears on this top side, and our door card is in good shape as well, between a kind of a taupe and kind of a dark, kind of an ivory color as well. As we move to our back seat, you'll see that we have 2 captain's chairs and then we have a bench seat in the back, so we can fit 7 people in this car. Don't have a whole lot of cargo area, which probably means that those seats are down for a reason, so they can get a little bit more back there than just, a couple sacks of groceries. Headliner's in good shape, nothing ripped, nothing sagging. Back at our steering wheel, just simple controls, very common for Toyota. Don't have a lot going on, just a few on this side. Maybe some could have been added on this other side, but they're not on this edition. So enough of this interior talk. Let's get this up in the air and see what's going on underneath.
Now, I can think of a lot of Chevy or Ford products where if you were to look underneath at 300,000 miles, it would be a disaster. They would look like trash. Let's see what it looks like on a Toyota. So we do see a tiny bit of seepage coming from this front differential. It is the drain plug, maybe some thread sealant or something, but it's not actively dripping. Probably not going to mess with that. Nothing serious there. Do see some fairly new calipers, probably within the last 3 years. Nice new CV boots. Everything's clean. No leaks going on. No blown out struts. Let's check the brake pads. Very thick, 90% remaining. Our steering rack is not leaking. Boots are intact. We do see a little seepage going on here though. It goes up. Something way up there. Looks like I can see something, maybe the steering reservoir. We'll lower it down and take a look here in a minute. Something's definitely pouring a little bit down here. Caliper's fairly new, pads are 90%. Fairly new CV boots, everything's in good shape. Nothing leaking there. I do see that the Bank 1 catalytic converter has been replaced with an aftermarket unit. It's been welded in. It does have a new rear O2 sensor on there. The Bank 2 catalytic converter is still intact and original since 300,000 miles. It's not been cut or modified or replaced or anything. So that's still from the factory from when it was new. But Bank 1 has been replaced. Our drive shaft U-joints are good there. I don't see anything leaking from the transfer case or the transmission. Completely dry. Check our rear drive shaft, nice and tight, nothing loose. The exhaust is intact, going back, not modified, no flow masters or anything like that. Back of the drive shaft, everything's good. We have Old Man Emu suspension on this. This is very good company, very high quality. It's probably the lift kit that's on it. Our pads in the back, about 50% remaining, but still good. Nothing leaking back here. No blown shocks. Same situation over here, pads are 50%, no blown out shocks. The Panhard bar is in good shape, it's not loose. And nothing leaking from the axle seals or anything. Our spare tire, full of air, nice and tight. A lot of people say in the comments, why does it keep beating a dead horse with this Toyota thing? I'm going to keep going until the day that the earth ends. I'm not going to stop. These are very, very good vehicles. 300,000 miles. It drives like it has 100,000 miles. And you saw for yourself, nothing seriously wrong underneath. Nothing leaking seriously. It's still got tons of life left in it. Let's go check out where that leak is coming from, and then we'll dive into what's going on with the check engine light. So a lot of times when I see leaks like that on vehicles, it can be valve cover gaskets, but this one's deceiving. Let's take a look at the valve covers and then show you where it's really coming from. So we traced the underside of the valve covers all the way forward to the point where this hose is touching it. And it does have some drips coming off the valve cover, but it isn't from the valve cover gasket. This hose is sweating. It's got tons of fluid just sweating out of the hose itself. So those two hoses need to be replaced. Those two hoses on the power steering reservoir are supply to the power steering pump and also return fluid back into the reservoir. That's all they do. It's not some huge $1,000 job. It's very easy to do, not expensive. So if I'm going to have a leak on my Toyota, I would love it to be power steering reservoir hoses. That's a simple fix. Let's get this hood closed and let's dive into all these pesky codes. So the customer came in, said, I've got codes, I got a check engine light. I see that one of them is a catalytic converter code, but that can't be accurate, that can't be right, because I just had that replaced. Now let's take a look at the codes. He's focused on catalytic converter and wondering what's going on with that. But if you take a look at the code list, but wait, there's more. There's so much more. We got a knock sensor issue going on, which is underneath the intake. Then we have some issues going on with bank 2 catalytic converter, not bank 1. And just in this picture here, it shows the Toyota layout for the 4.7. Cylinders 2, 4, 6, 8, which is bank 2, is on the passenger side here in the US. And then we have another code that has nothing to do with catalytic converters or knock sensors. We have one for brake switch correlation, which we checked it out and the brake switch is failing on it. So brake switch is bad, which isn't too big of a job, but the knock sensor, which is probably wiring damage or something underneath the intake has to come off, which isn't a huge job, but it's not a 5-minute job either. Those were completely unplanned, not on the radar. But the check engine light's not going to stay off if we just focus on the catalytic converter. If we take care of the catalytic converter, those codes are still coming back on the other things that are wrong. Brake switches can be very complicated in today's cars. They don't just do your brake lights only. They also tell the vehicle how much brake pressure you're applying, and also the cruise control runs a separate little switch through there on a lot of vehicles, so that if you hit the brakes it turns off the cruise control as well. There can be multiple things going on with that pesky little brake switch, and it's seeing some switches that should be going on and off at certain times and they're not matching up. That's why it's saying correlation, something's not right. So you have the knock sensor issue and the brake switch issue, but we have that bank 2 catalytic converter code. Like the customer said, I just had that done. That's impossible. But we just looked under the car and we verified with our own eyes that bank 1 has been replaced. No one has even touched bank 2. That one is now failing. So yes, it is totally 100% possible that your catalytic converter has a check engine light coming on even after you just put one on, because there are two, a left and a right. And we all know today that catalytic converters aren't 50 bucks. On some vehicles they can be $1,000. So the bill on this is going to be $1,500, $2,000. I haven't looked up the total numbers yet, but it's not going to be cheap. Catalytic converters are not cheap. So he was possibly hoping it was a quick little something and fix a few little things and the car would be back out a couple $100. Just want to do a video to show you guys that even on a Toyota with 300,000 miles can really sock it to you. You're like, oh my God, I didn't plan on this, a knock sensor and also a brake switch and this and this and that. Okay, well, you know, sometimes people actually say just park it out front. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do. We're not sure what the customer's going to do here. We're going to have to call them and see what they want to do. But we now know that catalytic converter code is real and it's accurate, because that one on bank 2 was never even touched. Catalytic converters can be a real tricky situation. Number one, a supply issue, and number two, quality. There are some vehicles, just recently we had a Mini Cooper in. We ordered the catalytic converter. We tried multiple different places. They all said discontinued or out of stock or we can't get them. And finally we found a place that we said we can get them. It's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. And we waited and waited and finally showed up. And when it did show up, we got an email from the company and said, by the way, that's the last one. We don't even know if there are any more. There are some vehicles out there. There's some shortages going on with catalytic converters. But another issue to worry about is quality. Luckily, this customer got by with Bank 1 and is still reading okay on Bank 1, but Toyotas have zero tolerance. They have zero forgiveness for you trying to be cheap and get a Chinese catalytic converter. They really, really are picky. If you put cheap O2 sensors on, cheap mass airflow sensors that are non-denso, or cheap catalytic converters, you can still have a code come back on. So I just replaced that. Yeah, you did, with a poor quality part. You're going to have to redo it again with a good quality denso part. Toyotas have zero forgiveness for that type of thing. But if you have a Dodge, a Ford, or a Chevrolet, you might get by with it. There's some sensors that may be okay, a Chinese one. The reason why is because when they write the software and the programming for the computers in these vehicles, they set up a limit of positive or negative. If it goes above this or below this, you know, then it's still okay. Which on these vehicles, the parameters are pretty wide. They give a lot of leeway and a lot of forgiveness. On Toyotas, it's very small. And if it's just the slightest bit out of order, the tiniest bit wrong, it says, nope, check engine light. That's the way Lexus and Toyotas are. They're very unforgiving with cheap parts. But you might get away with it on some of these, possibly. So do we still recommend Toyota? Absolutely. They're, to me, the best car maker on the planet. They have been for a long time, and they still are. I hear a lot of friends, a lot of people talk to me saying Chevys, Fords, Dodges, 2025, 2024, they're just like, they're all trash, they're bad. You guys can probably let us know in the comments some of the experiences you've had, that they're constantly warranty work, engine failures, transmission failures. There was some issue with some of the Toyotas, some of the engines, I think, in the Land Cruisers or something for a while, but I think that's been remedied. But really, even with everything that's going on, Toyota is still the top quality automaker in the world. So I still stand behind Toyota. But we definitely wanted to get a video out to you guys to show you that you have a check engine light on and you're planning in your mind for this one little thing to get fixed, only to find out there's 4 things wrong. And if all 4 aren't addressed right now, your check engine light will come right back on and you haven't solved anything. So make sure to keep that in mind. You can get into a bind with a car and be like, oh my God, I didn't plan on this. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to work on this Sequoia, or any of those vehicles we just showed you over there, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. Every tool we use almost in the shop is listed for sale there. If you purchase any of them, we get a small cut and really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's so many more videos to come. Thanks for watching.